Hello my YouTube family, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new, my name is Lakna. Welcome. In this video I am going to talk about the upcoming new moon, the first new moon for 2025, which is happening on the 29th of January, so stay tuned for that. In Vedic astrology, this new moon is happening in the sign of Capricorn and in the Nakshatra called Shravana. And this new moon, which is very connected to the previous full moon, all of the new moon and full moons, they do connect. I really love to talk about that in all of my videos, but especially this new moon, I highly recommend you look into, if you haven't already, watch my previous full moon video, because the themes of the previous full moon are going to come up again towards the time of this new moon. The full moon is when we close the chapter and we come to this culmination point of the habits and the patterns and the themes that we really need to clear, to heal, to release, and to really integrate and process in our life, so that we can then get to this new moon with the themes of this new moon and sort of integrate those two themes of those two stars, those nakshatras, and then really start this next chapter off in the most optimal way possible. And it does require going over those previous full moon themes and seeing how they connect with this new moon. And one thing I want to re-mention from the previous full moon video that I spoke about, being in Gemini, the previous full moon, and this new moon being in Capricorn, in tarot, the Gemini card is ruled by the Lovers and Capricorn is ruled by the Devil card, and these two cards are very different but also similar. It's the same man and woman standing side by side, just in different environments. The previous card, previous full moon in Gemini, like the man and the woman, they're naked, they're very, I guess you could say, they're feeling very authentic and free and vulnerable with each other, so they're connecting in the most authentic, free, loving way. They're in nature, so that's super authentic and like beautiful as well. And then there's the sun shining down on them, that's just like pure light energy from nature. There is the angel as well, that can symbolize so much, you know, just purity and protection. And then there's the Devil card, which is what we're moving into with this new moon, is seeing how this man and woman can also be in this position where they're kind of in a darker environment, maybe their shadow aspects, as they're in this dark place, it's completely black, and they're chained. And so now we're trying to question like what is keeping us chained, or what do we keep ourselves chained and trapped by? And this can be sometimes to do with partnerships, relationships, connections, because they're sort of chained together. That can indicate, like, you know, things to do with lack of boundaries or codependency, or you know, not dealing with conflict in a healthy way with one another, or like not confronting things that need to be within your like relationship dynamics, and not healing things, maybe repeating unhealthy patterns that are keeping you in a like lower frequency. So these are some themes that can come up now towards this new moon. And something that came to mind with this new moon, because Shravana is this nakshatra which the symbol is the ear, so there is a lot of symbolism about really hearing and listening and like going within and like quietening your world, so you can really hear truth and you can hear that guidance from God or your higher self, and you can really, you know, block out the external like distractions and clutter that is around you so that you can really connect deeper with the truth. And sometimes that requires, even though this Gemini energy is so beautiful, you know, the lovers, like they're connecting, they're enjoying, they're like in nature, sometimes to really hear and perceive the truth, you do need to be in a darker sort of place where you need to be able to sort of open yourself up to the shadows that are within you, which requires really isolating yourself sometimes from that external, you know, that high energy Gemini, those themes that come with Gemini, that like connecting with others and being social and interacting and like communicating and like listening and all of that stuff with a lot of external energy. Now is the time to be more internal towards, especially on the day of this new moon, because the new moon is a day when the moon is the darkest, like there's not much light in the sky because the moon is completely dark. So it is a time for us to also face that darkness inside of ourselves, which requires a bit of isolation, a bit of time to really go within and listen. And so with Shravana, symbol being the ear, and there is this huge emphasis on listening and really hearing for truth, hearing for divine guidance from your higher self, and just, you know, just listening to the messages that are supposed to be heard by you. That requires really going within, reflecting on that internal dialogue that is going on within you, because that is the voices, that is what you're hearing on a constant basis. And that's not all truth, and that's not all God and connection to your higher self. Some of these internal voices are from the external. They can be, you know, like that term intrusive thoughts. I believe a lot of us have, like, I'm sure that we all have that sometimes, because we live in this world that is filled with so many external stimulus, and it has to get filtered through us. And actually I saw this quote that I'll try and post it on here, and it's of the ear and how the ear actually looks like a baby inside the womb. It's like so similar, and it's just like another symbolic message from nature that like what we hear from our ears is literally being conceived and birthed through us, and that like at some point that will, like what we've heard will birth out, and it is creating this like force field of energy within us, and it is creating these thought forms that are birthing within us, these belief systems. So it's so important what we watch and what we listen to, like the frequencies, and like, is it uplifting you? Like I am very cautious with like what I listen to now, and like I recently wanted to watch a scary movie, but I have like stopped watching scary movies because of that reason, that like these things that we're hearing and that we're like seeing as well, we're sort of embodying that frequency and like birthing a lot out of that. And I'm not saying all of this to be afraid, because I do think that humans carry so much power. Like we forget how powerful we are. We have the ability to transmute anything at all, like so much more than we realize. We can transmute and alchemize into light energy, but that doesn't mean we should go like chasing for all the darkness when there's already so much darkness that we have to overcome and transmute just naturally in life anyways. But yeah, so it's about listening to that internal dialogue that's going on and filtering out the intrusive thoughts, the external voices, the ones that, you know, that aren't serving you. And then there are also voices from your ego self that are not serving you, that are also limiting you. And maybe, you know, these sort of voices and these thoughts, these beliefs to do with unworthiness, like limiting you, to do with fear, like not wanting you to get out of your comfort zone maybe, or like judging yourself, comparing yourself. Like these are the voices that and thoughts and beliefs that we need to reflect on and really try and understand where they came from. Maybe not why they're there, maybe that doesn't really matter, but just how can we let that belief go and like realize that it's not true and it's not aligned with our higher self, because that is the real voice that we want to be hearing, is from our higher self or God. And in order to do that, we really need to distinguish what is truth and what is not of our own truth. And that comes with discernment. And the more and more we are giving space for ourselves to shine through and to really hear ourselves and tap in, the more we do that, the more we reflect, the more we really tap in each time that one of those reoccurring negative thoughts or beliefs come up. Every time we do that and we catch ourselves and we change that thought or belief into something more positive, the more we will be able to more easily discern and perceive and tap into our higher self and the truth of that. The Nakshatra Shravana is ruled by the moon. The moon is the divine feminine energy, which is all about our emotions, our sensitivities, our intuition, our subconscious. It is our inner world, and the emotional world, which ebbs and flows like the moon, like the waxing and waning moon. Like we sort of have these tides of energy and emotions that come up. Like towards the full moon, we have so much emotional energy and it can be overwhelming, and then as that ends, it sort of releases and we feel more calm. And then moving towards the new moon, we can feel like quite low in energy and a bit more inward and reflective and more sensitive in that way. And all of these things come up with the moon, and it teaches us about our divine feminine energy, which really needs to be honored with those ebbs and flows that come. And that is our creative life force as well. It's not always like on like high, it's like it moves and flows. And with that energy, and then also the Capricorn energy, which is ruled by Saturn is very structured, and it's about discipline and hard work and really creating routines and this structure. So in this sign, it's like doing all of that stuff to be able to build emotional strength, resilience, and really balance our emotional state, because the emotional world is not smooth. It can sometimes be very, very chaotic and very overwhelming. Sometimes it's a lot. And with Shravana, we are really being asked to think about the different sort of methods that we can use, like practical ways of being able to not control our emotions in a way where we are not allowing ourselves to feel what comes up, because that is a huge part of healing. But with Shravana, this is the like opportunity for us to think about more, I guess, routines we can incorporate to help us feel our emotions more. You know, things like regular yoga and meditation and breath work, and maybe like, you know, doing those hard things in order to help us feel those hard emotions that want to come up as well, because it does take a level of discipline and routine and structure as well to be able to feel emotionally strong and resilient and balanced, and like you're able, like you have that sort of safe container to feel your emotions and to heal and to release. And like, yeah, just to feel safe and to be able to do that, Saturn is sort of giving us that structure now. So it is, it's a beautiful thing, actually. Some other themes that can come up at the time of this new moon that we can think about setting intentions for 2025 is to do with travel and just movement in general. So not just movement with travel, but like different ways we can move ourselves, move our energy, move our bodies, and also learning. And I say this because one of the deities a part of Shravana is goddess Saraswati, who is the goddess of learning and also music and eloquence. So those are some themes that can come up now that we can set our intentions to flourish. And also the movement and travel, because there is the symbol of the 3 footprints of Vishnu, which is found here in Shravana. And Lord Vishnu is the preserver of the universe, who also has this ability to really help us see the truth beyond all of the illusions and the distractions that exist in this world that we live in. So this is a really powerful new moon where we have that opportunity to really discern and tap into the truth, to be able to see and hear clearly now. Yeah. Another symbol found in this star Shravana is the Pipal tree. The Pipal tree is where Lord Buddha gained enlightenment. By sitting there, he was meditating and profoundly changed and transformed his life sitting by this Pipal tree, which is a message for us to connect more with nature. Nature is the purest form of, you know, that source energy to help us connect within and to connect with the divine. I think that connecting with nature is probably the easiest, fastest way to do that. If you feel like there's a lot of external, internal clutter happening in your life, go and connect with nature. Nature is so healing and cleansing and grounding. The planet Pluto is also very close to this new moon, so this is really emphasizing that this new moon is a new beginning that is going to be completely like shifting our reality. Like, we're going through a massive death and rebirth process as we start this new chapter in our life, and like, yeah, start this new beginning. It's going to be completely transformed. Pluto is all to do with that death and rebirth cycle of like really transmuting and alchemizing energy, so we can start something new that is more aligned with truth. Pluto is the ego destroyer, so Pluto is ready to like break away and destroy any of those illusions that aren't connected to our higher self. And also themes to do with power and control and like obsessions and like compulsions and like dark secrets as well. Pluto can sort of rule over things like that, and so it is an intense time with this new moon, and things can come up that are really like heavy things that it's like really important and necessary to come up, so we can finally let those things go, and so we can start this new beginning with a blank slate and like really fresh and really light, by letting go of the heaviness from the past. And Mars is also still retrograding towards the end of February, and Mars will be retrograding from Cancer into Gemini, and that Gemini energy, which was also the previous full moon, is coming up for us to also like think about. And with Mars, it's like, you know, things to do with our inner warrior and defender and protector within, and our anger, our like any themes to do with anger and how we stand up for ourselves, and if that hasn't been healthy in any way, like those themes will come up. And that is what we need to pay attention to, is like why did we react and respond to life in the way that we did? Why are these sort of memories or maybe experiences coming up again for us to process and really think about, and like thinking about those things to do with our internal dialogue and what has influenced that, so we can like, you know, react in more healthy ways in the future. The main thing I want to really emphasize in this video, which I feel is coming up with this new moon, is the need for us to really create a solid, safe space and structure for our inner world, for our emotional world, and the feelings that come up within us, so that we can experience that, process and integrate what comes up, and then we can filter out what is truth and what is just needing to be processed within us and healed and released through us. And there's this quote that has come up for me recently, and it's that the opposite of depression is expression. It's not joy, it's expression. And I think that's so true, and that's such a aligned quote with the energies of this new moon, because the energies of the planet Saturn can sometimes create this depression, because it's so hard, and it's to do with hard work and discipline, and you know, doing all of the hard things in life, overcoming obstacles, and really, you know, pushing. And yeah, it's not an easy sign, it's not an easy energy, but it's so rewarding. And in order to overcome that depression, you do need to move that energy, you need to express, whether it's through art, whether it's through writing, through like moving your body and playing a sport of some sort. Whatever it is you feel called to do, you need to express. And yeah, that is coming up with this new moon, because the energies of the moon is also that emotional, feminine, intuitive flow that comes through expression. And sometimes those feelings of depression, they really need to be expressed. That is you transmuting and alchemizing that energy, which Pluto is really going to help us to do as well with this new moon. So if you feel called to really create something, do that. And you know, that is another message that has been coming up to me lately, is like, are you a consumer or a creator in this life? Because there's so much that is so easily and readily available to us now to easily consume, and we could easily just be full on consuming and not creating at all with the lifestyle that is available to many of us now in the world that we live. And I do believe that can lead to depression if we're not moving with purpose and we're not doing something meaningful for ourselves. Eventually that will lead to depression. So that is a question to ask yourself, is how can you create more than you're consuming? I do believe it needs to be a balance, but personally I feel like for me that I need to be creating more than I'm consuming. Maybe it's different for different individuals, maybe there is a different threshold, but you ask yourself what is important to you. Like, do you want to be creating more in your life, or do you want to be consuming? Because the more you're creating, the more you're giving back to the world, the more that you will gain from that. There's always things to gain, there's always like rewards to gain. It might not be instant, but it will come. Like, there is that karmic circle of what you get what you give in life. It's so true. And Saturn and Capricorn knows that so well. So like Saturn rules karma and time, and like trusting in that divine timing as well. And also with that message of like, what are you consuming, that is a big one as well with this star, because like what you are consuming, what you're hearing with your ear, what you're listening, that is consumption through your ear. And like the ear is shaped like the baby in the womb, what you're listening to is literally being conceived and birthed, and that will flourish out of you. So pay attention to what you're consuming, whether it's TV, music, what you're eating, what you're drinking, the people you're around. That's also all energy consumption of some form. And like the purest energy consumption is out in nature. And also when you're just taking that time out to connect within and to be in stillness and silence. So yeah, just a few themes that I see coming up for this new moon. I hope that you all have such a healing new chapter. This is a really, really powerful day. So that's basically all I wanted to share with this new moon video. I hope that you all have such a powerful start to this new chapter, and just leading up to it, I hope that you all have so many insights and epiphanies and growth and healing and alignment and all of the beautiful things to help you tap into the best versions of yourselves. And if you want more help or like more guidance with that, if you want to work one-on-one, I have my Etsy website, which is in my bio, and I have a lot of offerings on there, and I will be posting some new offerings on there very soon. I am going to be offering my one-on-one full moon and new moon workshops if you are interested in that, so stay tuned. That will be up there very soon. But other than that, I will see you all in my next video, and please share your comments, and I love to hear your stories and like what's going on with you leading up to and during these new moons and full moons. I love to hear your personal insights and little synchronicities and things like that. But other than that, I will see you all in my next video. Bye everyone.